Choice of a Young Voice.
Welcome to The Choice of a Young Voice. This is a series where we discuss the different choices that we make as young people in this generation. My name is Caroline Muche and I am your host. Today we are discussing something very important. We all belong to a family in one way or the other. How do we relate in our family? How are we free with our parents as young? I'm talking as a young person here, you know. Parents, are you free with your children? Do you have an authoritarian, authoritative? I don't even know all the rest of parenting styles. But that's what we're discussing today. In siblings, is there sibling rivalry? How do we improve on our family relations? And with us, we have a special guest from the Union, Pastor Tuwei. He is here to help us understand how we can improve on our family relations. Pastor, karibu sana.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming here today. We have an audience of youth, young people, ready, eager to learn about how we can improve our family relations. So let's get into the topic. Pastor Tuwei.
Yes.
What are the characteristics of a healthy family?
Thank you very much. I know when we talk about a family that are healthful, there are several issues. But we can think about families which are really connected. In terms of connection, we mean that they are connected, all of them, parents and the children. Not really that they are lacking, because they don't lack problem, but they are connected even when they are in problem.
They are connected.
They are connected.
There's unity.
Yeah, there is unity. And in fact, we can use even the Bible verse where the book of Psalms 133 says that the family that stays together.
Prays together, stays together.
And that one means if a family stays together, they belong together, they believe together. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And ideally, we all want to get to that point, you know, to have that closeness, that unity in our families. Now, talking in the African context, yeah,
Yes.
I know there are a lot of families, it's hard to be very free with our parents. I'm talking now on behalf of the youth. As a youth, sometimes, though not on behalf of myself, me and my mom, we're like this. But there are other people, I know my peers, who struggle to tell their parents certain things. There's a strained relationship. Why is that?
I think now, although we speak, you've said about African families.
Yes.
Even African families are changing. Yeah, originally we used not to stay together. There was some difference, but the traits, the old traits are still around, whereby the children, the youth are not staying together with their parents. And that one has been there because they used to stay very far. They used to stay with their grandma in where they could stay. Girls with their grandma, boys with their grandpa. But now, they are not there. Our grandparents are not there. So I think now it is changing that we need to talk with our youth. We need to talk with our children. We need to uplift their self-esteem that we may talk. All the culture may not work today because you cannot live the way we used to live. Now we live in town. The areas that we live in town. So you cannot live and expect your grandma to talk with the children. It is very hard. But now we live in a time where we need to be talking with our children, we need to be talking with our youth. Our self-esteem should be uplifted that we can communicate very well.
Yes.
Otherwise, we are faced with a lot of challenges if we don't talk and understand the language of the youth. I know most of the parents are poor in understanding the language of the youth. Not really that the youth hide what they want to say. It is maybe I don't understand when they are feeling down, when their feelings are very low, their emotions are very low. But it is the parent himself or herself who should know and understand the language that is revealed by the youth.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen. Now, do you people have, okay, you can be honest or not. Do you have good relationships with your parents in that you're free to tell them anything, absolutely anything? Who has that kind of relationship with their parents? Oh, yeah, we have 1, 2, yeah, 3, okay. And the rest, it's okay. It's okay. We all have different reasons why, you know, we relate with our parents the way we do. But would you prefer to be able? Would you like to be free with your parents? That's a question I'm asking you. Yes. Do you have an answer? Would you prefer to be free with your parents?
Yeah, I'll prefer to be free with my parents.
Yes.
But it depends on the way you were brought up. Yeah, some of our parents are I can call them lions.
Lions.
Yeah, so that when you have a problem, approaching them, you have to think more than twice.
Yes.
Because even if you are going to tell them, you know, the kind of reception you're going to give, it is going to be a bit of not comfortable with me.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
growing up in such a family,
Yeah.
it brings a problem. And it even brings a problem to the youths now, because when you're growing up, you kind of taken the character of those parents, and then, you know, a family that is going to come out of us also will also experience the same. So that is why sometimes most of us, including me, doesn't have that guts to share with our parents.
Yeah, you see, there's a challenge. And now the question is, who has created this gap? Why is there a reason? Why is there a gap in the first place? And it's common among so many people.
Yeah, I think the gap has come. You see, the youth is very sincere. In every healthy family, there must be what we call communication. And if in the communication, the communication that you do is not so open, because you must have aggressive communication, you must have passive communication, and even some have assertive communication. But where our young person there is saying is that you have a parent who is, instead of a good listener, he becomes a judge. Where everything he says is right. As if he's quoting from somewhere or in the law. So what can that youth say now?
Yes, yes.
Whereas you are quoting things as if you are the law, you are yourself, what you have said is final. Where even the question you are asking, the youth cannot even answer. Because it is an end in itself. In such a manner, the parents should learn how to put the questions that are open for discussion.
And I'm seeing, I think there's a trend in generation. You know, you take what you had.
Yeah.
When you grew up like this, that's what you take to your, you know, your children, and the generation continues. How do we break that culture? Or are we breaking that culture now with this modern generation that's coming up?
Yeah, of course we need to break it, because you know the Bible, I like quoting from the Bible.
Yes.
The book of 2nd Chronicles, 1st Chronicles 12 verse 32, it says there was a group of people, the group of Issachar and the rest. They knew the times and what to do in that particular time. So any generation that doesn't change means that they will distinct. Because how can you live 1970 when we are in the 21st century?
1970, yes.
You know, I grew as a youth in 1970s. The mode of talking was different. But now we are in the 21st century. If somebody wants to remain the same, I don't think it can go anywhere in the society that we live today, where communication is open and everybody wants to listen. So I think our parents and my parents and all the rest of the people, they need to change. Because unless you become a good counselor, you become inquisitive in what you do as you communicate in your family, you have to be good listener. In fact, even the Bible says that listen more than to talk. If you listen more than to talk, you can help such a youth. You just listen, and you will see that there is a problem.
Yes.
And you will have good health between, you will get connected. As I had said, healthy families are those who are connected. So if there is a disconnection between you and your children, and then you are different people, there is no family there.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Pastor. Is there any, before I continue, you know, I have 20,000 questions to ask. I don't want to block anyone else out. Does anyone here have a question to ask, Pastor? Yet? Not yet? They're still loading? Oh, yes? Okay.
Yes, Pastor. The better part of our discussion is all about parents maybe trying to understand the language of the youth and being open, the communication. But in some instance, you'll find that as a youth in the house, I may be having some pressing issue I would like to be addressed, but not because my parent is harsh or maybe somebody who is so strict, but maybe personally I just feel like it's hard for me to bring it out. How do I do in such a case?
Yeah, sometimes some youth also have problem in how they express themselves. Not really, as he said, not really that they have been pressed, but they didn't learn. Their self-esteem is so low that they don't feel free. But there must have been a problem somewhere in life where that problem occurred. But also youth, you should learn also that you should be open in what you say, because you have nowhere to take. You know, keeping quiet means that you'll be sick internally and not revealing. And people have gone, being quiet means that you are hiding something. And why hide? Because if it is something that you know it is okay, even if it is bad, you just be sincere and say, I am in this problem, I need some help. And nobody will question you or harass you. Because many youth have ended making suicide because of, and then they write some notes. And you see it was a very shallow thing, which everybody underwent. By the way, all parents like me, what you are doing is what I did. If it is good or bad, it is still all youth.
It's hard to imagine. Our parents always say they are perfect.
No. You know, how can you say you are perfect, yet you underwent all these stages? We made mistakes. We broke the classes. We had to hide and say, in the class, where did it go? But it is true, we broke classes. We did mistake. Me, I grew in the rural, both in town and in the rural sometime. But we could hit even a colt and a sheep and injure the sheep and come and hide and say, we don't know. I found it bleeding like that. So all the mistakes that you used to do, it is known by the parents, and they did it. What I want the parents to be sincere. If you are a lady, if you are a girl or your daughter comes and say, I have done this, just be sincere and say, I used to do that also. So that she feels that she's not offside. Because how can you hide? Whatever the children are doing are what we did.
Yes.
Maybe it is not in the same mode, because even traveling was different those days. The way they travel to those mistakes are different, but the mistakes are mistakes.
Yes.
Like as we travel now by Matatu, we used to travel by bicycles. But you end, the destination is the same. So we need to encourage our youth. But parents make mistake by perfecting themselves, thinking that they are perfect and the children are not perfect.
Especially in grades. I always got A's. I don't know. And so when you get a D, you feel like your parents have really set a high standard for you. They were perfect, they never failed. It's true, it's true.
But were they in a boarding school like you? Maybe some even were not in the same condition. Yes. They didn't go to the same school that you are. The setups of the school is different.
Yeah.
So what contributed to the D?
Yes.
Look, search for it.
Yeah.
But don't blame anyhow. But also the youth, they need also to check for themselves.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true. Thank you, Pastor. We are coming back to discuss more. There's so much lined up, how to solve conflict in the home. What do we do if we have ungodly parents? And the Bible tells us to honor our parents. How do we do that? How do we go about that? We're coming back to discuss that shortly after this break. And before the break, we're going to watch a video of a parent sharing how she has developed a good relationship with her children.
My two beautiful daughters lost their father in their early age. Today they are adult, and it has been a real journey to reach where we are. Let me say that parenting is an amazing experience. It has been joyful, and at the same time, it has been challenging. We have laughed and we have cried as we moved from one stage to another. There are times I wondered whether my parenting theories worked anymore, when I could not see the results of what I was expecting. And it is at that time I decided to adopt Job 1 verse 5 theory, where he could rise early in the morning and offer burnt offering for his children. I pray and dedicate my children to God every morning, and they know it. I believe in parenting style that is not authoritarian. I don't want my children to feel as if they have no say, as if they cannot make decisions, that things must be done my way. I like involving them in decision making, and they both know it. Actually, when I was getting married, I decided to remarry. I involved them in every single decision. And actually, on the wedding day, they both held my hands and decided to be my parent. And when the pastor asked the question, who gives this woman to this man? They both said, we do. One thing I value is being a role model to them. It is my daily prayer to have Christ-centered lifestyle that I want my children to possess. I have told them again and again that it is my greatest joy when my God comes to say, here am I with the children that you give me.
Welcome back. You are still watching The Choice of a Young Voice. And today we are discussing something very important to each and every one of us. How can we improve our family relations? Before the break, Pastor Tuwei really encouraged us and said, parents, listen, you need to improve. We are all not perfect anyway. Even us as young people, we need to improve, and we all need to work together to develop a good relationship with our parents. And before we continue with the discussion, I'm sure there are a few of you who may have a comment or a question. I can start with the gentleman in front here.
Okay, thank you. I'm Finid Ngore. Okay, I want to contribute on the issue of child discipline. When a parent is disciplining the child, there might be a gap created depending on the way of disciplining the child. in that when the child has made a mistake and the parent is quite quick and harsh in disciplining the child, not knowing what may have caused or what led to the mistake. So I think that one maybe the parents can consider, even the children, in order to make the family relationship better. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you so much. Then there's another comment behind there.
Okay, thank you. My name is Lois Accord. I can say the family relations begins with the parent. Specifically when a parent comes home from work and he finds you don't have time to story with your children. How do you expect your child to be free and tell you, Daddy, Mommy, this is what happened, time to do this? You find a parent comes home like he or she is harsh. You can't just trace where to begin and tell him or her, I did this mistake. And that's why youth find it hard time to speak in terms of relationships. If your daddy or mommy tells you, you know, my daughter, in my youth stage, I began, this is how I found your daddy, and we were all like this. You also have the moral to tell him, you know, mommy, I have got someone who is like we want to marry. But that's hardly found in the family, right? Yeah, it's hardly found in the family. Don't find parents who tell you this is the way to go. That's why youth have difficult time to say, Mommy, I've broke up with my boyfriend, and they end up committing suicide. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Norman, you have something else to say?
Sure. Yeah, I was just thinking out loud that maybe when you want to cross a river, it's either you can swim to reach the other side, or there should be a bridge for you to use. Now, if you're afraid to swim, you can use a bridge. Now, in the family, we have maybe elder sister or brother, we have a mom or a dad. So you want to approach maybe the dad or the mom, and maybe you don't have the guts. Pastor, can you elaborate for us if there is a bridge we can use if we are afraid to swim? Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. And I think these waters, who created these waters? Because it was not good, first of all, the waters to be there between the children and the parents. That one is a sad story, because we should have, there should not be any barrier between the parents. Yes, sometimes some parents, if they have more voltages, they can ban children. Some normally use even their mother or the soft one. Maybe the one parent is harsh and another one is soft. So if it has happened like that, use the soft one. I don't know who the soft is, the father or the mother.
Yeah.
Mostly mothers are soft.
Yes.
But you see, we need to be open. We need to be open. Even in our time, I was almost the last born and we were very old. But you see, I usually come, I came home free. But my parents used to ask me, what is wrong with you? You always come, you don't have a friend even to come and eat lunch. And even my mother asked me, I have not seen you coming even with a girl. What is this life going to be? And I ask you, what is wrong? You know, you will marry one time.
Yes.
But you cannot marry without us seeing some girls coming. And then we choose even and say, oh, this one you almost found. So I don't see where, I think there is some communication breakdown in the families.
Yes.
Due to the present time, we live in a time when we have these TVs in the houses, the media, people have no time to even talk to each other.
Yeah.
Everybody comes
Gadgets.
in the phone, gadgets. And at the end of the day, no stories. I chose myself not to have a TV for so long when my children were young, so that we have time. So my children knows how to speak stories, because unless we speak stories, the house will be quiet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So parents should learn that sometime put off the gadget in the house and try to talk. Let everybody talk and give a story.
Yes.
Some are quiet by nature. Yeah. Some are phlegmatic by nature. But we cannot say even a phlegmatic speaks.
Yes.
Short story of 2 minutes and finish summary. But you cannot say that we keep quiet everybody.
Yeah.
So I don't like the building of bridges. Let us break the bridges.
Yes.
But in case it has come, use the soft bridge and
That's what
cross the
God.
river.
Amen.
Yes.
Thank you. And now in this scenario where you have ungodly parents, yes, you are now a Christian, you probably have ungodly parents, or your parents are Christian but behave ungodly, you know. And the Bible tells us to honor our parents. How do we deal with that?
Yeah,
And mentorship. How do you seek mentorship from your parents who are not leading you in the right direction?
the first thing we need to understand, the Bible, what the Bible says is a principle that doesn't change, that children honor your parents. It is binding on every child, whether you are a youth, you are aged, you are bound by that law that say honor your parents. So there is no period in time where you can say you cannot honor your parents. But here, the Bible also gives time that if the parents are leading you to a wrong thing, you have also your mind to think. Yeah. Because even when the Bible says training up a child in the way he should go, it doesn't say in the way the parents want, in the way you should go. So even you are trained not in the way the parents went, it is the way I need to go. So parents, understand your child. If the parent goes against the will of God, you have to tell them openly that one I don't do. But I honor you in other things, except this one when it is wrong. Yeah. If it is wrong, you ask a question. My parents were not Christians. They never liked me becoming a Seventh-day Adventist member. But I had to tell them I have no otherwise. What I believe, I have believed. Whether you put some records and say you will not go to school, I'll leave the school but go to church. So sometimes you must have principles. But the parents also will understand that they have a mistake. If your parents today, you youth here, if your parents are corrupt, will you say that we want to encourage you to follow your parents who are corrupt? We can't.
Yeah.
And even parents know that they are wrong. So the Bible's in the book of Acts 5:29 says we'll obey God. You better obey God than obey people when it reaches a matters of principles that God has said we should go this direction.
Amen.
But in other things, honor your parents. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I have more questions. Anyone else? Okay, yes, Lillian.
Okay, I'm Lilian Alango, and my question is a little complicated and simple at the same time. In some families, we have house helps, and at times we want to treat them as members of the family, and at some other time, we feel like they should be treated as outsiders. And for example, if your house help, you're a parent and you realize that your house help is kind of misleading your children, what do you do? And if you're a child who has noticed that your parents are mistreating the house help, how do you help?
Yeah, several questions in one question. First of all, houseworkers.
Yes.
Some call them maids, some call them
House helps.
aunties.
Aunties.
It is commonly called aunties.
Yes.
But you see, one thing, we should treat them as human beings. But we should have also boundaries that they don't belong to that family. They may be having different characteristics of trait. As far as I had said, a family is people who belong together. They believe together. They behave together. Here is a person who comes from a different family. I don't know if she believes with us, she behaves with us, she belongs to us. So it should be treated not as a member of the family, but as a human beings living among us,
Yes.
who should stay like good human being.
Yes.
We should not treat them harshly. We should accept them to stay with you, but also you should take caution that she may be having character traits that don't belong to our family. So a parent should check so that you don't follow some character traits that are foreign to your family.
Yes. Thank
But
you.
also, one thing, we need to know also that when they come, they should not do everything. Our children should learn some activities in the family. Because a family is a place of creativity. These aunties and these maids, they have become everything that even they have destroyed the character of our youth, that they are no longer learning to be creative. Some do not know how to cook. They go as far as secondary school, Form 4, a university student, they cannot cook a fish. Because auntie knows how to cook a fish. And that one is a distraction of creativity in the family.
Yes.
And also you youth, try to put them aside and work. If you are old like you people who are here, try to work.
Yes.
Don't say auntie, auntie.
Thank
Even
you.
auntie giving you something small.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, Pastor. Yes, there's another question.
Not really a question. This topic is directly touching on me. Yeah, I was born in a family where my dad never went to church, and only mom went to church. And I remember our eldest son, eldest brother, could taste, the liquor. The dad could give him, and they could taste. And this is a young boy. So in such a situation, you don't have that ability to know whether this is bad or this is wrong. And some people who takes those alcohol and all those things, they have some character that is not easy. And all the time, mom could run away, because the beatings are always there. You see, I don't know how an Adventist lady who lives with such a man can, help the children to come up. Because I can say personally, it is just God that did it directly. But if it was not God, then maybe I could also follow the other path. Yeah. So how can a mom or a lady who lives with such a man get children to follow the way without maybe offending the father? The father can say that these are my children, I need to have them around me. But now how can they also involve these children in such
Thank
situation?
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I know it needs a different lesson for those ladies who live with their husbands who are not Christian. Because whenever they say praise, they want to worship, they fight. And we normally have lesson for them. But first of all, let her become a prayer warrior. Let her take time to be with the children. The good thing is that if the mother is a Christian, it is very easy to lead the children to the right direction because you are available all the time. The man is not available all the time. So it is very easy to teach the children the right direction if you are a mother. Take time to do that. It may be hard, it may be hurting, but you have to persevere. You have to persevere. That is why in terms of when we talk to the youth also in the other side, whenever you will get married in future, take care that you marry a Christian of your faith. Because you already see our friend here is already affected. Yeah? And so, because you have not broken yours, a simple advice for you now, don't go to that direction.
Yes.
Where you have two different beliefs and you want to get married. And then make sure that you don't come to marry somebody who is unbeliever that you will change. No, you don't have powers to change. Christ changes people. And marriage is not part of evangelism, that you bring somebody so that you evangelize on him. That is different things.
Thank you so much. Thank you. For those who still have questions, I'm sorry. I have given you time. I believe I have. But God bless you. Have you people learnt a lot?
Yeah.
We want to discuss a little bit more before we finally end this show. About now, how can we then, solve conflicts in the family? Just a normal family, there's so much conflict and it affects work. You come back to work, you treat everyone badly because of a conflict you had with your parents at home or something. And also, how can the church be parents to those who do not have parents? God bless you, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. You are still watching The Choice of a Young Voice. We are discussing family relationships. And now, Pastor, how can we resolve conflicts among us in a family?
First of all, we need to understand what are the causes of conflict. Because if we don't understand what causes conflict, we may not have solution for those conflicts. Number one, causes of conflict is poor communication. Number one is poor communication. And the family therapists agree that most of the conflicts in the families, 80% is caused by poor communication. Number two, the repeat of mistakes all the time. So if the parents find a youth repeating the same mistake every now and then, it will grow from being a mistake and then a problem. Later it becomes a big conflict. We have also what we call unresolved issues, where something is left for so long without being solved. That one will develop into a conflict in future.
Yes.
And we have several of them. So we need the handling of resources also in the family, where you handle things badly. For parents, how they handle money may be a conflict in future. So the way we need to solve issues between the youth is to handle the problem immediately it occurs, to listen to the problems. Because if you don't communicate, it will come to be an issue, and after an issue, a conflict. So we need to solve the problem as early as time we get. But if we push it next week, another day, that day it will pile up, and the future is that people will have to fall into conflict. So as youth also, solve your problem as early as you want to solve it. Don't push it and hide it, because the future you may not have time to solve the issue. Yeah?
Thank you, Pastor. And now we are just closing. How then can we help us young people, probably who don't have godly parents or don't have parents who support them? How can the church support these young people?
For the church, you need to have a discipleship program where you have youth, you have seminars for the youth, you have a very close relationship with the youth. They should be involved, they should be having time. We must have also the leaders of the church who are really understanding with the youth. We may choose a strict church elder and the youth will run away. And you know, all youth are not the same. Some come from those parents who are not Christian. They need somebody who looks like a father, who can speak encouraging words. But if we push them very far and look at their mistakes, don't look at the mistakes, act like Jesus, who doesn't care about the mistake, they care about forgiving. So come together, put the youth together, talk with them, give them counseling, listen to their problems, and the youth will stay in the church. We don't have youth who want to run away. They run away if somebody is not listening to them. And that is a real issue. So look for a leader of the youth who understands the youth.
Yes.
Yes.
And supports the youth. Have you people been blessed? Yes. Anyone with a last comment who wants to share? Yes?
Okay, thank you. I also think that a good relationship in a family is that which yesterday's conflict does not prevent today's communication. If there's a conflict yesterday or a mistake made, it's forgiven and once and for all. The Bible says we forgive and forget. So that makes the relationship in a family constant, and in that way, you're going to make your children happy. So like, if your parents were in a crash, you say, oh, who am I not to forgive somebody if my dad and mom can do that? That makes us as youths, we feel comfortable. And even in the church, we feel neglected. Like maybe you sing, like singing groups are nowadays too much. You sing and you feel like you're not recognized in the church. You're doing something, but you're not recognized. Yet it's something, it's very important that it can help. That's why we have the pathfinders, adventurers. In that, we come when people go for camporees and out, you find, that's when you find to hear somebody's story. A child comes and tell you, like, I stay in a family where my dad passed away and we stay with my grandma. And there's a lot of problems. And in that, we're going to have a constant and a nice communication, and we find a way of helping them.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Pastor, for all your insights. And it's been a very good interactive session that we've had, and we've learned a lot. At the end of the day, the take home is very simple, you know. Let's invite God to our homes, you know. Parents, pray for your kids. Have a good relationship with them. It really starts with you. Make that step. Reach out to your children. Show them that you are open to listen to them. The youths in this generation, you know, are struggling with so many problems. There are a lot of suicides happening and youth getting into depression. And if they could just find that love at home, they would be in a much better place. So let's improve on how we relate with one another at home, in church, and in the community at large. And may God bless you. See you next week. We have so many more episodes lined up just for you.